Hey y'all, welcome to our next lesson. We are going to actually really take our time going through this next lesson that we have here. And really just taking our time, especially with reading, because we haven't gone over our pronunciation in a few lessons, and I want us to really take some time going through our pronunciation in this lesson. So we are actually now, we are still in Unit 5, and we are actually now on page 64 in Unit 5. Okay, we are on page 64 in Unit 5, and our focus is going to be to read an email about Sandra's neighborhood, and we are going to learn some new vocabulary about places around town. That is going to be our focus for today's lesson. So if you have your student book, go ahead and open up your student book to page 64. And whether you have the second edition or third edition, you should see something a little similar to this, where you kind of see just a small little town. It may not look exactly like this, depending on what edition you have, but you know, something similar. And what it talks about here, excuse me, is it says Lesson D, reading. So this is a reading exercise. This is why I really want you to kind of, we're going to focus a little on this lesson in terms of reading, because I want you to be able to practice on your own your pronunciation. So the instructions say, before you read, talk, look at these pictures of Sandra's new neighborhood, answer the questions. So here are the pictures of Sandra's neighborhood, right? It's a small picture. What do we see? We have a community center right here. And here, it looks like we have a restaurant. You have people sitting outside eating. You have a waiter bringing something to drink outside. You have families sitting at the table, right? So these are a couple of pictures. So the first question is, what are the places in her neighborhood? Okay, that makes sense. So one place is a community center and one place is a restaurant. These are a couple of places in her neighborhood, right? And then what can you do in these places? So I want you guys to write in the comment section of the video, what can you do in a community center? And then what can you do in a restaurant? Okay, I want you to go ahead and write some of the things you can do. And then let's talk about it a little bit. So in a community center, what can we do? We can take classes. Sometimes they offer classes in a community center, different classes, maybe a taekwondo class, maybe an English class or a Spanish class, or a Korean class. At a community center, maybe you can play ping pong, right? So there are different things that you can do in a community center. Sometimes they have mommy classes where they have the mothers of young children bring their children to the community center, and they will have maybe story reading time for your young child, you and your young child at the community center. Or exercise time. Right? So there are so many different things that you can do at a community center. And then at a restaurant, what are some things you can do at a restaurant? Well, clearly, you can eat at a restaurant, right? That's what a lot of people go there to do, is they go there to eat. But you can also work at a restaurant, right? You can work at a restaurant and you can be maybe a waiter, right? Someone who takes the order. You can be a host or a hostess, someone who helps people to come inside and puts them at their seats, tells them where to sit. You can be a chef or a cook at a restaurant. You can be a manager at a restaurant. You can own the restaurant. So these are things, that you can do at a restaurant. Okay? All right. So next it says listen and read. So first we're going to listen to the recording that's right here on our icon right here. And then we're going to listen to it again. And I want you guys to just repeat after me. But for the first time, let's just listen. Okay. Keep forgetting I have to take the pointer off to do stuff like that. Okay, here we go.
Page 64. Exercise 2.
Hi, Angela. I love my new house. My neighborhood is great. Here are some pictures. There is a school on my street. My children go to the school. They like it a lot. There is a community center across from the school. My husband works at the community center. He walks to work. There is a grocery store next to my house. It's a small store, but we can buy a lot of things. There is a good Mexican restaurant on 2nd Street. It's right across from my house. I like it here, but I miss you. Please write. Your friend, Sandra.
Okay, that was really good, but it went a little fast. So now I'm just going to ask you guys to just repeat after me. Hi, Angela. I love my new house. My neighborhood is great. Actually, I'm going to repeat that one because right here we have an exclamation point, and that shows excitement. So this should actually be read, my neighborhood is great. Here are some pictures. There is a school on my street. My children go to the school. They like it a lot. There is a community center across from the school. My husband works at the community center. He walks to work. There is a grocery store next to my house. It's a small store, but we can buy a lot of things. There is a good Mexican restaurant on 2nd Street. It's across from my house. I like it here, but I miss you. Please write. Your friend, Sandra. Awesome. Awesome, that was just me talking. Awesome's not in the in that. Okay, so as we can see here, that was a really good, that's a really good letter, right? A really good email that gives a lot of information about Sandra's neighborhood. But I want us to pay attention to this little area right here. It says, when you see pronouns, he, it, they, ask, who is the writer talking about? Look at the sentences before a pronoun to find the answer. So we're going to actually go through and look for pronouns. And we have talked a lot about the different pronouns in the English language. You know, we've got different kinds of pronouns, so we've talked about that. But right now, I just want to focus on he, it, and they. Okay, and it says to look at the sentence before a pronoun to find the answer. So let's see if we can find he, it, or they. So here we have it right here. They like it a lot. So what's this it talking about? To find out what this it is talking about, we have to look at the sentence before the sentence with it. So what's the sentence before that? It says, my children go to the school. They like it. So the it is referring to the school. Okay? And then we have, let's see what else we have. Okay, so here we have another it. It's a small store. It's a small store. So let's look at the sentence before it's a small store. It says, there is a grocery store next to my house. It refers to the grocery store, obviously, because it says it's a small store. Okay, and I feel like I missed one. Pretty sure I saw. Oh, in the same sentence, they. I know I missed a they somewhere. Okay, they. So we go back to this sentence. So they like it a lot. We already covered who the it is talking about. But the they, my children. The they is talking about my children. My children go to the school. They, Sandra's children, they like it, the school, a lot. All right. And then he walks to work. Well, what's the sentence before he walks to work? The sentence before that is, my husband works at the community center. He is referring to my husband. Okay. Okay, so let's move on down to exercise 3. Exercise 3. And it says, after you read the sentences. Are they correct? Circle yes or no. So let's look at number 1. Sandra lives on Summit Street. And it says right here, It's already circled no. Well, how do we know that's correct? We know that's correct because as you read the whole paragraph, the only paragraph that has a street name, or the only sentence that has a street name, is this one right here, where it says, there is a good Mexican restaurant on 2nd Street. But that's talking about the restaurant. It's not talking about where Sandra lives. Except we come right here and it says, it's right across from my house. What is across from her house? The Mexican restaurant. So if the Mexican restaurant right here is across from her house, so her house would be over here. If the Mexican restaurant is on 2nd Street, then guess what? Her house is also on 2nd Street. So she lives on 2nd Street, not on Summit Street. Let's go to the next one, number 2. There is a school on Sandra's street. What's the answer to that? There is a school on Sandra's street. Well, the answer to that is going to be yes, because she says right here, there is a school on my street. There is a school on my street, so the answer for that would be yes. Number 3, there is a community center next to the school. And we're actually just going to move on over to the next slide because this gives the answers. There is a community center next to the school, and the answer to that is no. It says there is a community center across from the school, not next to the school. It's across from the school. Okay, so the answer to that one, number 3, is no. Number 4, Sandra's husband works at the community center. And the answer to that is yes, because it says right here, my husband works at the community center. All right, number 5, Sandra's letter is about her new school. And of course, the answer to that is no. Okay. So we have 3 answers that are no right here. And the next direction tells us to write and correct the sentences. So number 1, they already completed that. No, Sandra lives on 2nd Street. So we talked about that. Number 3, there's a community center next to the school. The answer is no. There's a community center across from the school. And then number 5, Sandra's letter is about her new school. And no, Sandra's letter is about her new house. She starts off with, I love my new house. Okay? All right. Let's look at exercise B. Write. Answer the questions about Sandra's neighborhood. Where is the school? So the answer, the school is on 2nd Street. Number 2, where is the grocery store? The grocery store is next to Sandra's house. Does Sandra like the restaurant? And of course the answer, yes, the restaurant is good. She says it right here. There's a good Mexican restaurant on 2nd Street. So that tells us that she likes it. All right, so that's going to end it for this lesson. And let's keep moving on through Unit 5. We will continue into the next lesson. Okay? See you guys soon.